biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Not the Top 20 podcast with me, George Elliott.
And me, Ali Maxwell.
Join us on our podcast about the best football leagues in the world, the EFL. Want football to be like it was back in the day? No VAR and so much drama. Search Not the Top 20 and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Big Kick Energy with me, Maisie Adam.
And me, Susie Ruffle.
Each week we bring you the latest from the world of women's football. Whether you're a lifelong fan like me
or a newer fan like me and have recently got swept up in the Lioness excitement,
we've got everything you need to know about the women's game.
Search Big Kick Energy and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees, where kids get to learn about their favourite players, teams, trophies and more. The podcast where kids are inspired, educated and motivated through the thing which they love. Search Football for Kids and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and The Pavilion with me, Stephen Wallis, as we continue our build-up to the men's Ashes. In today's episode, I'm joined by Mark Campbell, a popular radio host, sportscaster and station manager at 89.7 FM Perth, WA. Mark, the brother of Ryan Campbell, the former Australian wicketkeeper and now head coach of Durham County Cricket Club, shares some great stories about growing up with his younger brother. As the presenter of the Friday Free for All with Cambo on 89.7 FM, Mark also gives us his thoughts on the upcoming Ashes series, which begins at the Optus Stadium in his home city of Perth. So sit back, relax and get ready to be entertained over the next 40 minutes. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Yeah, g'day, Stephen. Thanks very much. Good afternoon from sunny Perth and morning over there in the UK.
It's not sunny here. It's quite dreary and drizzly. So how is Perth? What's the weather like?
Yeah, well, it's glorious one day and fantastic the next, Stephen, to be honest. It's about 26 today, 27, bit cool, but the sea breeze is in already and I'm just going to change that camera over so I don't get the sun. But the sun's setting in the west, mate, as it always does, and it's a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful day here.
So as station manager at 89.7 FM, are you ready for the Ashes?
Yeah, well, we have two sports programs, so that'll be going in ad infinitum about the Ashes progress. And, of course, we'll be giving scores my show's on a Friday, so we'll be giving scores on the every so often on the Friday show as well. So, no, looking forward to it. And the first one's in Perth, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, first one in Perth starting on the 21st of November at the Optus Stadium. Do you know that ticket sales have gone well?
Yeah, they've gone absolutely gangbusters. The first 3 days are sold out. I think there's limited access for day 4, and day 5's going quickly as well, but being England, I probably won't go to day 5, mate.
I can tell what you're going to say when we talk about the Ashes and at the end when you give your prediction. As someone who's been to 5 Ashes tests at the WACA, I know what it's like to lose. I've got tickets for day 1 and day 2 and day 4. And the WACA said that day 5, they're sort of going to go on sale on about day 3 or 4, depending on whether we last that long.
Yeah, well, it's Optus Stadium. It's the new stadium now. It's 60,000 people and guaranteed it'll be sold out every day of the Ashes test.
What's the stadium like? When I was last in Australia, it was 2019 when I was coming back from New Zealand. So I've not been in the ground.
It's fantastic. Good. We play Australian rules footy there as well. So it's good for that. A little bit different for cricket, but there's good viewing all around the ground. And as I say, 60,000 stadium. It's a mini MCG. MCG can fit 100,000 in, but the stadium can get 60, and it's echoes around. It's great.
I've got no idea where I'm sitting because I bought the tickets, the middle of the night about. So I'm in various areas of the ground, as I am at Brisbane and Adelaide.
Right.
I've got no idea where I'm going. Whereas at the Wacker, I did used to know where I was, and mostly at the Wacker, wherever he was, it was hot.
Yeah, pretty much. The Optus Stadium pretty much the same, except you will get some coverage from the grandstands as the sun goes over. So it just depends. If you're in the middle of the ground, you'll be better off because you get the shade in the morning and then the shade in the afternoon.
Well, I'm going to find that out.
Take a jumper though, because if it's 35 degrees, by about 4:30, it's going to be by 4:30, it's going to be a lot less.
Oh, bear that in mind then. Well, thanks to start with for linking up on LinkedIn. Good advert for LinkedIn there. And I wondered when you linked up this chap called Mark Campbell until I realised that you are Ryan Campbell's brother.
Yeah, guilty as charged, or he's guilty as charged since I'm older than he is. But yes, no, we are related. And people turn around and say, what's it like being second best in your family? I said, I've had plenty of practice.
Well, he's the head coach of Durham. He was the former coach of the Netherlands. He played for Australia. He's been a guest on this podcast a couple of times in episode 166 and episode 237. I thought I'd get another advert in there. What was it like growing up with him?
Well, yeah, it was great. Well, I'm 7 years older, so by the time I was 12, he was only 5. So we had similar interests. Like he liked Aussie rules footy and obviously playing cricket. In those days, I would have to do all the bowling because he would do all the batting, and then it'd get hot and he'd want to come inside for a rest, and I wouldn't get a chance to have a bat. So I should have he played cricket for Australia as a bat. I probably should have played cricket as a bowler, the amount of bowling I did in the backyard to my brothers and sisters. But no, he was one of 4. So I'm the oldest. My sister is 20 months younger than me, and she's played state indoor cricket as well. So she was into cricket. And our other brother was in the Navy. So he was a clearance diver in the Navy eventually. So he didn't like cricket. He'd rather go scuba diving, or in those days, snorkeling, really, and catching fish with a jilgi. So he'd like to do that in summer, and Ryan and I played cricket.
Could you always tell growing up that he was better than the average and could play for state and Australian cricket?
Well, I coached a lot of kids, Stephen, and if I had $1 for every parent that said my son's going to play for Australia, I'd be living on a small Greek island right now. He had potential. He was playing, men's cricket early on. So he played men's indoor cricket when he was 12, 13 and did okay. He held his own. And then played senior men's cricket when he was about 15, 16, just community stuff, and held his own. And then played district cricket where I was at North Perth, played 4th grade, made 100. And then all of a sudden went to Kalgoorlie with my sister. She'd moved up there and came down with their country week. And all of a sudden he just took off from there. He came to Bayswater Morley. They played him in the seconds. He made 158 in the 2nd grade, and then went into A grade, and eventually got to the cricket academy with Rod Marsh. I went over to see him and visit him when he was there at the cricket academy in South Australia. And it just went from there. Like, he would live by the sword, die by the sword. As a coach, I'd turn around and say, mate, any chance of not playing that shot? Because I remember him playing a shot against New South Wales. It was off Glenn McGrath, who's 6'5", and a guy by the name of Phil Alley, who's about 6'7" or 6'8", was on the deep third man fence. So it was short at the whacker. Ryan's jumped in the air, cut it over the top of the slip, and Alley's caught it full stretch at deep third man, and he was 6'8", so he's put his hands up. He's about 7 foot, and I said, mate, any chance of not playing that one? He said, oh, well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. He said if it was a normal sized person, it would have been 6. I said, yeah. Would have been. Didn't see Phil Alley down there, mate. Thought he might have been a one of the light poles. So yeah, no, it was always entertaining. It was always great to watch. We'd go down as a family and watch it. And then probably the game that announced him was when he played against the West Indies with Curtly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh against WA, and he got 60 odd not out in the one-day game, and everyone started to take notice then.
He told me he invented the scoop as well.
Yeah, he did. It was an interesting story. He wanted to hit Darren Berry from Victoria, the wicketkeeper, who was the most hated man in state cricket, in the head. And it went for four, but Berry kept moving his head. So he kept hitting fours. And because he'd been in all the meetings where they said, oh, well, we'll bring fine leg up and third man up, and we'll have long on and long off because of the fielding restrictions, Ryan reckons, well, it was an area that you could score runs. And I was working as a financial planner back in those days, and my clients would say, could you tell your brother to stop playing that shot? And I said, why? He said, he's getting runs from it. He says, yeah, but my kids go out and practice it in the backyard. They keep getting hit and coming in crying. So, no, he did. He invented the scoop. Went on national television, Australia A versus Sri Lanka in Brisbane. And Mark Taylor and Ian Healy were amazed. They couldn't work out how he was doing it and why he was doing it, but it still kept going for 4-1 bounce. The crowd loved it. And he invented it. Then Dilshan added the reverse ramp to it to make it the Dilshan scoop. So, but no, Ryan was the first one to play it in first-class cricket.
And when he played for Australia in those 2 one-day internationals, were you there watching? Because one of them was at the Wacker.
Yeah, we're at the Wacker. I was supposed to go to Sydney because the first one he played at was in Sydney, and my father was going. Mum wasn't going, and I was going to go with Dad over to watch it, but I couldn't go for I can't remember what the reason was now. I couldn't go because of work, I think. So I didn't end up going, but that was the first one he played was in Sydney against New Zealand. He got the only one that turned all day in Sydney, which was a bit of a shame when he got out for 34.
And you mentioned someone just a few minutes ago who was, one of the most famous Australian cricketers, but he was also a coach for England as well. That's in Rodney Marsh. He set up the academy in England as well.
Yeah, he did. And Rodney Marsh was the one that actually said to Ryan that you should open the batting, Ryan, because you bat at such a pace that the whole idea is, A, that you have to be an entertainer when you bat, but B, you got to score your runs quick enough to give your bowlers a chance to take 20 wickets. So it was Ryan who was the first one to open the batting, and Rod Marsh was the first one that said that he should. So it's one of those ones that, it was fate. I remember him playing against England in one of their early tours that Ryan hit Devon Malcolm over cover for 6. And the report went, and a young, brash Australian, Ryan Campbell, as an opener, hit the opening bowler for England's chances for the Ashes over cover for 6. Hasn't anybody told this young man that shot's impossible? And Ryan did it. So not sure what the English journalist was expecting. I think he was expecting the students to roll over, but in Ryan's intake year, it was a fairly good one because not only Ryan, but Andrew Simons was there, and Brett Lee's older brother was there, who also played for Australia, and Harvey was there as well. Yeah, Shane Lee was there. Brad Hodge was there. So it was a pretty good intake that year.
And Ryan must have been unlucky because one of the legends of the game happened to be an opening batsman in one-day cricket and one of the world's best wicket-keepers in Adam Gilchrist around at the same time.
Yeah, well, Adam Gilchrist actually rang Ryan when he was at the Cricket Academy and said, oh, look, I hope you don't mind, but they've asked me to come to WA because he was playing for New South Wales as a bat because they had Phil Emery, and Emery was the captain. So he wasn't going to replace him, and Tim Zura had just retired over here. So, of course, Ryan said, well, I'm a big chance because Tim Zura's retired. And then he got a phone call at the Cricket Academy going, oh, this is Adam Gilchrist. Hope you don't mind, but I'm coming over. And Adam Gilchrist is born in November 1971 and Ryan's born in February 1972, so virtually the same age. And that's when Ryan decided, well, if I'm going to play for WA, I'm going to have to open the batting, score runs. So he came back that season, scored 900 in pennant cricket and just whacked them everywhere. And that's how he eventually played for WA as an opening bat.
And now he's a coach. Did you always think he might be a coach?
I actually thought when he finished playing, because he'd done so much media stuff, like he'd been on Postcards WA on TV here locally, and he was on a Nova radio station for breakfast radio. I thought he'd actually become a bit of a media personality rather than a coach. But then again, big brothers can be wrong, Stephen. So I thought he'd actually do more media because he was really good at the media stuff. I think you've had him on your program, so he was very good at that. But I would have thought he would have gone into that, and that all changed for him when he was on Nova, and then the ICL, Damien Martin's team in the ICL, when they had the IPL, that was for current internationals and Indian players. And then they had this other competition that was called the ICL, which was for past international players and Indian players, same sort of format. And Damien Martin had played a season in it, and they were short of batters. So he rang Ryan to say, what are you doing? And Ryan went, yeah, okay, I'll come over. So that sort of then refocused him, I guess, on cricket rather than on the media stuff. And then rest is history. Went to Hong Kong, coached Kowloon Cricket Club, was the Hong Kong batting coach. They asked him to play in the T20s for one of the tournaments, and then eventually got to Durham.
Lowe's knows that saving is always top of mind, especially this season. That's why we've picked some great deals for early Black Friday. Get free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit. More tools? Why not? Plus, we've got select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at $59.98 because it's never too early to think Christmas. Get Black Friday prices without the crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like us, Under the Cosh.
What is Under the Cosh?
It's stories from behind the scenes, from the changing room, and it's raw, unfiltered, unsanitised, and straight from the horse's mouth.
From the good old days. And the new series is out now. Who've we got, John?
Mark Clattenburg.
Yes.
David Bentley. And many, many more.
So search Under the Cosh and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Well, we ought to talk about Mark Campbell, really, the guest, don't we? We should get one listener, that's Ryan Campbell, because it's been the Ryan Campbell Appreciation Society so far. Now
he's the famous one. I'm not.
Well, you're a station manager and on the board at 89.7 FM with your own show. You said weekly it's on a Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, so I do have two shows actually. I have my Friday show, which is called the Friday Free for All with Cambo. And then I have I do Talking Sport, which is one of our sports programs on Saturday mornings. So I do that. I've always loved radio. Colin Minson, who's unfortunately passed away, was Ryan's manager, got me into radio. I think Ryan pushed a little bit too, as the story goes, because I think Colin Minson asked Ryan if I'd be any good at radio, and then Ryan immediately turned around and said, well, you can talk with a mouthful of marbles underwater, so you should be all right. So that started me in radio commentating, and I've been commentating ever since. Had my own show, community radio station, but I was also doing segments on the Talking Sports show and coming in for that show. And the station manager of the day said, do you want to do your own show? And I went, well, you want me to turn a 20-minute segment into a 3-hour show? She said, yeah, why not? And I went, okay, let's try that. So we put it on its feet, and it's been going now for 4 or 5 years, 233 shows it's done. So we do that. And then the station manager resigned, and they said, oh, do you want to be station manager? I said, yeah, why not? Because I always believe that opportunity knocks, Stephen. So, if there's an opportunity and people want you to do something, say yes. It's easier than saying, it's harder to say no than it is to say yes. So say yes, do it, have a crack.
So what's involved in your weekly show?
My weekly show, we usually do a special year for music, because I'm not a DJ. So we usually do a special year for music. And then it's called the Friday Free For All with Cambo. So I can interview people from all walks of life, as opposed to trying to do it as a sports show. So yes, we've done Olympic specials, and I've had Paralympians on there, but we've done Anzac Day specials, we've done winter specials, I've interviewed professors, I've interviewed doctors. So it's basically a free for all. So our listeners listen in now for the antics and the mayhem that come from the Friday free for all with Cambo, which is pretty good.
And what time of day are you on in WA?
So in WA time, we're on midday to 3 p.m. WA time. And then on Saturday morning, the Talking Sports shows between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m.
I'll have to make a point of listening when I'm in Perth now.
Well, you could actually get us on the internet, Stephen. You could put it on the internet. Just go to the website, and you can listen live. And if I see a little dot come up in the UK, I'll know it's you.
I'll have to try out now before I go, wouldn't I? Yeah, because you're 7 hours ahead of us at the moment, aren't you? So yeah.
Yes, and then you'll put your clocks forward to 8, because my daughter still lives in the UK. So I've got a daughter and 2 grandchildren in the UK, and we ring them. I'll be ringing them tonight because it's her birthday today.
And it must be a job you enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's a volunteer radio. It's a community radio station run by volunteers. So we don't have any payments. We all volunteer our time and our efforts and to be announcers. And I just happen to have the station manager role tacked on and deal with volunteers. And basically, the volunteers are there because they want to be. And as station manager, just don't be an idiot. Just be nice. So it's pretty good. It's a good gig.
And you talked about financial advisor before? I think it might have been off air, but do you do other work in not in your spare time, but for a living?
No, I've retired now. I've got to that magical age of 60. Did I say that out loud? And I've retired now. So I have the radio station. I do a lot of commentating. So I do commentating for another radio station, 91.3, for their pennant coverage. And we'll do commentating sometime for the Sheffield Shield games. Vets Cricket asked me to do a lot of their commentating for their over 40s on their live streams and things like that, over 40s carnival. So I do that. I do basketball commentating in winter, so I'm pretty busy. And the best job I've got, Stephen, is grandfather duty. So I do that a fair bit too.
Looks like you've got some of that today, because I've seen some people going backwards and forwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my. I can't remember what number it is because we've got 8 grandchildren between us. But yeah, so that's Sophie. She's 5, so she stays with us on a Wednesday night. So granddad's picked her up from school, and that's my wife just walking past the screen there. But we pick her up after school and have it for a Wednesday night because she doesn't go to school Thursdays at the moment. So grandfather duty is one of those great jobs, Stephen, let me tell you.
So will you be doing some phone-ins as well during the Ashes then on the radio station, or?
Phone-ins? Oh, we don't do phone-ins. We do text messages. So we've got a text line, and people can text in their song requests.
I'll have to text in now. I'll have to text in now, won't I?
They can you can all text in going, yeah, we told you that England would win and blah, 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 blah. But no, so we have a text line and people text in, and I just ask them, if you want a song request, text in for a song request, or even say g'day to Cambo. So, yeah, it's great.
We're getting off piste here, but you said that you commentate at the basketball, and I have been to the Perth Wildcats a couple of times, and God, that's noisy there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I commentate on the level down from that called NBL1 West, and the stadiums are smaller. There's more crowd, and the crowd's right around you. So it's an amazing atmosphere to commentate basketball in NBL1 West. in WA. So every state's got their own NBL 1 competition. And I did the NBL 1 West, and it's great fun because you see amazing players, and some of those players go on to play for the Wildcats, or we've got one this year from Geraldton who played for the Geraldton Buccaneers, who's actually playing for Illawarra Hawks this year. So he got drafted or recruited over to the other side of the country.
Well, Geraldton's quite a way out from Perth, isn't it?
Yeah, so they play NBL 1 basketball in Geraldton, so it's a road trip. And teams from here get on buses, or they hire planes or whatever to go to Geraldton and Kalgoorlie. So they do the Kalgoorlie as well. So
that's
thankfully I haven't had to do those road trips yet.
That's even further, Kalgoorlie. I have actually been to Kalgoorlie because I did the train journey across the Indian Pacific and
rightio.
Saw the big pit in Kalgoorlie. Yeah.
That's the one thing, Stephen, on my bucket list now. I've retired because I've flown over the Nullarbor for work, going to the eastern states and back plenty of times, but I've never done the Indian Pacific. That's one I've got to do on my bucket list.
Well, I've done that one, but let's talk about the Ashes. To start with, having been to the WACA all those times, but what can you tell listeners about the pitch at the Optus Stadium? What's it like?
It's quick and bouncy, the same as the WACA. It's just in a bigger stadium where it's actually truer bounce. Now, last year, the Indians loved it, and that was the only test they won here in Perth. So good for baseball, except the problem is that the ball's going to be whizzing around their ears rather than whizzing around their knees. So it's going to be a bit interesting, the first test. It's a bouncy wicket. If I was England, I'd play all their quicks. Wood, Archer, Potts, Cast. I'd play four quicks. Don't worry about a spinner. Just use Joe Root to fill in a couple of overs because it's quick and it's bouncy, and it'll give the fast bowlers plenty of help early doors.
You've been reading my notes, and the next thing I was going to recount that India won the test at Perth last year by 295 runs, and Bumrah got 8 wickets in the match. Siraj got 5, and then one of my other questions was, should England hit Australia hard in the first test? And it looks like you've said yes.
Well, I've been watching the England-India test series, and Bashir gets the rough end of the stick all the time because he's an off spinner and he has to bowl on these wickets that are flat for baseball, and they always put the opposition in. So he's bowling on flat wickets on the first day. So that makes it hard. In Perth, there'd be Perth's a good deck for spinners, but they've got to put it in the right areas. And I just think the way that the England bowling attack is lined up, where they say, you've got to bring pace to Australia. I just play 4 quicks and let Root do the spinning, play the extra bat, because you're going to need them against a world-class attack that Australia have at their disposal.
Yeah, our record in Perth's not good. I mean, having seen 5 Ashes defeats at the WACA, I think we've only ever won once in Perth, and that goes back a long while.
78, 79.
And that was when you were all your best players,
nobody,
including one of the regular guests on this show, Rick McCosker, were playing in PACA tests.
Yep, and the other drawback to that was that not only did we have PACA tests, but it was just when the South African tours were starting as well. They started in about 80, 81, but not only did we lose the cream of the crop, and then we lost the second cream as well. So the early 80s, Australia were in a little bit of trouble.
That's why England were winning, obviously.
Well, yeah, you got to let England win every now and again just to keep it interest. But, you invented the game, so we just have to make it better. It's an amazing thing where the English test averages and test runs get inflated every English winter because you play so many test matches in England. Played 7 or 8 this year, didn't you?
Yeah, we're always playing test cricket. I think one year recently we played 22 or something like that in a year or something. It was something crazy, really. But,
yeah, it was amazing.
So you don't think that the Dad's Army Aussie attack is going to struggle over 5 tests then?
No, not really. We got Cummings is under a cloud. He might not play the first one. That'll give you half a chance, but then you got to take on Scotty Boland who'll come in. The next crop down, if England have a witch doctor and they get a couple of spells put on Mitch Starc and Hazelwood, all of a sudden the next two or three bowlers after that, after Boland may struggle, but we got Sean Abbott and we got a couple of others. It's going to be really interesting to see the England batting against the Australian bowling attack, because you've got Duckett and you've got Crawley. They've only ever played T20s here. Joe Root, the greatest English batsman apparently since Walter Hammond or whoever they want to bring up, never made 100 in Australia. He's been here 4 times. Has never got one in Australia. And then you've got Harry Brooks, never been here. So I'm not sure how 4 out of their top 6 are going to go on a hard, fast, bouncy track, because obviously you've got Perth, then you've got Brisbane, then Melbourne for Boxing Day, Sydney's a turner, and then you got Adelaide, which is flat.
So what is the vibe then about Pat Cummins? Do you think he's just going to miss that first test? Are you not telling us the truth, or do you think he'll be back in Brisbane?
Well, I don't think no one's actually saying anything about it at the moment. There was thought that he may miss all the test matches. They might miss all 5 because they're playing they're playing him in such a short space of time. So there was a thought that he might miss all 5 initially, and now that seems to have come back a little bit, and you might only miss 1. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
And the Brisbane test, which is a day-night tests in Australia are never draws. So somebody's going to win that match.
Especially in Brisbane. Brisbane will be about 3.5 days. I spoke to Ryan a couple of days ago about this one, and I said, "Did you see we're having a Brisbane test that's a day-nighter?" And he's turned around and says, "Mate, I've played in Brisbane when you can't even see the difference between the outfield and the wicket. Brisbane don't need a day-night test. They should keep it in Adelaide, because Adelaide needs help because it's flat. But Brisbane will probably go for about 3.5 days. Whoever wins the toss will win that one. And I'm tipping that one as the one England will win, to be honest."
And you think Bazball, as they call it, could struggle against the Australian bowling?
It struggled against the Indians. And the Indians had half an attack because Bumrah didn't play for 3 tests. I think it's all hype. It's an amazing thing when Ben Duckett comes out when he's on a tour of India, where it's spinning like a top, and says, "English cricket playing Bazball has changed the face of Test cricket, and we are making other countries play better." And I thought to myself, where were you 25 years ago, mate? Australia have been doing that for years. The whole idea for Australia back in the day was score 300, 330 by the end of the first day. And we used to do it on a regular occurrence. I thought, mate, where you been? And I understand he's a young fella, and as young fellas do, Test cricket only started in 2012, but Australia have been doing that for years. So I don't think Bazball, the only difference is with Bazball is that they play unorthodox shots so early. You get someone like Joe Root, who's a class bat, and he's playing reverse ramps in the 3rd over. That's the only difference.
Are you worried about the Australian top order? Who's going to open with Usman Khawaja?
Yeah, I am a little bit. But then again, if India's top order without Rishad Pant and a couple of others can hit the England bowlers for 350 every test match, I think Australia will be okay, because we'll have Steve Smith, Travis Head, Carey, these sort of blokes coming in towards the end. So it's a funny thing, because we're having this chat with Ryan. I've said to him, I said, "Mate, but how many tests are the England bowlers going to last for?" In India, in their own country, they couldn't last 5 test matches. No one played 5 tests. They were chopping and changing because they kept breaking down. I said, well, on Australian wickets in Australian summer, how are they going to last 5 test matches? I'll probably change it 4 times. So, yeah, I was a little bit concerned early. I think the going early, especially in Brisbane, if England win the toss and do what they normally do, which is bowl in every game, and it's a little bit of a green top, I think Brisbane's the one that the Australian top order, Australia will struggle in if they lose that toss, because I think England have got the bowlers. I just don't think they've got the bowlers that are going to last the test matches.
And most of these bowlers are coached by Ryan Campbell.
Well, he's got a few of them, yeah. He turns around and he says it upsets him because at one stage he had Bryden Cass in the team, and he asked permission for Potts to come and bowl because he'd lost all his overseas because they'd all broken down his bowlers. He'd lost then he'd lost some of his English bowlers as well. So he's bringing kids up from the academy. So the kids were 16, 17 playing first-class cricket because they had no other bowlers. He asked Potts asked England if he could have Potts, and he said, "Look, I'll put him on restrictions. They only got to bowl 10 overs." And the bowling coach of England said, "No, it'd be better if he just bowls to our fitness coach on the ground after the Test matches, not in games." And it was like, seriously? And then last year when I was doing the commentating for pennant cricket, we found what they use now, that clubs were getting emails from the state setups saying that this bowler couldn't play this game because he was deloading. So deloading became a buzzword for us last year on the commentary, because I then turned around and said, "Well, you can tell your wife that you can't do the housework or the gardening on a weekend because you're laying on the couch deloading."
Well, that's a new word. I've not heard that one before. So that's something we've learned on this podcast. Deloading, yeah.
Yeah, they call it deloading now. This bowler can't bowl because he's deloading after the game. It's like, okay. Don't understand.
But are the Australian public hoping, dare I say, for a more competitive series? Our last 3 trips to Australia have not gone well.
I don't think from an Australian point of view it matters because you're playing England. So as long as you're beating England, it doesn't matter if it's 5-0, 4-0, 3-1. The worst part is if it's 2-2 going into Sydney, that'll cause a bit of furore because you don't want it too close because you're playing England and Australia.
Well, that's the dream scenario for English supporters. Having been to, 5 tests at the Wacker, where normally when we get to the Wacker, it's the Barmy Army singing, "We're going to win 3-2." And that's usually halfway through the Perth test when we're already struggling in that game. So,
yes.
At least at Perth, it'll be 0-0 when we get there. So,
well, that's right. It'll be even Stevens to start off with, and after day 1, we'll see where it lands because it's going to be a great series.
Time then for your prediction. I can guess who you're going to predict to win the series.
Yes. So I'm going Australia, and Australia 3-1 because I think England will win Brisbane if they win the toss.
And where are we going to get this draw? Do you get rain in Australia?
Well, you do over on the eastern seaboard. So Melbourne might rain, or somewhere it'll rain somewhere, because even against India last year they lost a day in one of the test matches through rain. So I'm sure it'll rain somewhere, Stephen, to give England some respite.
But I bet you can't wait now for the series to start on the Friday, the 21st November.
I'll be actually coming back. I'll be away. I think I get back a week before because I'm going off to a cricket tournament. So I'll actually be away for the lead up, which I'm a bit disappointed in. But I'll be back just in time for that one, the first test.
Is this the over 60s you were telling me about on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I've been selected to play for WA in the over 60s. So we were in Wollongong. So in New South Wales, I think it's the 9th to the 14th. So I get back a week before the test, but the lead up to the test match in Perth goes for 2.5 weeks. So I'm going to miss the first week of the build up, which is always good. But no, looking forward to playing for Western Australia for sure. First opportunity. So looking forward to it. And I did ring Ryan and say to him, I finally made the state team. And Ryan did turn around and say, "Gee, took your time." Said, "Well, you stick around long enough, something's got to happen for you."
Will you be going? Will you be going to the Optus at all for the test match?
I don't think I will. Well, I haven't got tickets, so I don't think I will be for the first 3 days. I might be able to get to the 5th day, but
as you say, there won't be a 5th day, won't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there will be, but I didn't get any tickets, Stephen. So if you've got the insight on the tickets, mate, You'll be seeing more than I will be. I'll be watching it at home on TV.
Well, I'm definitely going on the first, the second, and the fourth day. So that's I've got the ticket.
Well, you'll be right for the fourth day. It'll be an early finish. You'll be done by tea. It'll be all good.
They do normally finish early in Perth, so that is true.
Yeah, they do. But no, it's going to be a fantastic series. I mean, Ashes series are always fantastic. Doesn't matter the result. It's pure Test cricket, and that's what people like. I guess the purists or the older generations love watching Test cricket. I'm not sure they enjoy watching Australia, India, or India, England in India, because it's just the wickets are just too one way. At least Australia, England in England, or Australia, England in Australia, the wickets are completely different, and it's just a great contest between bat and ball. And it has been since 1877, so why would anybody try and change it?
And I think this series, that the hype's going to be bigger than ever, because the last Ashes series, no one from the UK could travel over because of COVID restrictions. So it's a bit like the first series since 2017. Well, that's what Stuart Broad says as well.
Yeah, well, Stuart Broad should know. Just don't ask him to walk anywhere, because he never walks. But with Stuart Broad, he would know. And 2020, that last series was really difficult because of COVID. So yeah, looking forward to it, because the Barmy Army, I'm sure, will be here in force, and they'll be in full voice for the first test, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. They'll probably still be in full voice when they get to Brisbane for the 3.5 days of that test, and they'll be definitely cock-a-hoop for Melbourne till about day 3, and then they'll start getting lower and lower and slower, I think, because then it'll be all done.
Well, we'll find out soon, Mark. Thank you very much for being on the Paddock and the Pavilion. I think you're the first brother that's been on when he's first brothers with you and Ryan to have been on the show, I think.
Oh, there you go. Well, as I said, he's the famous one. I'm the not so famous one, and I used to describe our family like this: is that I'm the oldest, but I've got a sister that played state indoor cricket and wore the state colours before anybody else. I've got a brother who went to the Gulf War with the Royal Australian Navy, and he was a war hero. My youngest brother was known by everybody and would go to the opening of an envelope, and I'm just the oldest that didn't do anything.
But you've got your own radio show, and you're very soon to play state cricket for WA.
Yes, but I'm still a try hard, mate. I don't have natural ability, and just try hard and try and do your best. That's all you can do. So that's what I try and do it with everything, be it being a station manager, still playing cricket at 60, a husband, father, grandfather. Just try your best. That's all I try and do.
Well, thank you for trying your best and entertaining us on this show.
Stephen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like, if you know your history, with me, Johnny Owen.
And with me, Mark Webster. And it's not just any other football pod. We go beyond the goals to uncover the untold stories, the hidden histories, and the cultural moments that shaped the game we love.
Search If You Know Your History and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.